The Friday Rugby Preview with Stuart Cameron.
Hello and welcome to the Friday Rugby Preview, and in the show I'm delighted to be joined by Robin Purdie, and we're going to start with a brief recap of last weekend. In the Premiership, 2 wins and 2 losses. Hawick came from behind to beat Musselburgh 27-25. Kelso also came from behind to beat Edinburgh Accies 32-22, both home games for the Borders sides there. Selkirk lost at home to Heriot's Blues 26-13, and there was also a loss for Jedforest at Glasgow Hawks by 57 points to 19. In National 1, Gala lost at home to Highland 22-18 after leading 18-3, while Melrose also on the wrong end of the scoreline. Glasgow Accies winning that by 62 points to 28. And in National 2, Berwick lost to a late try by Aberdeen Grammar at Rubislaw, going down 15-12. In the East Leagues, there was a loss for Langholm at Leith by 37-14. In East 2, Duns beat Livingston 59-12, their first win for a long time, and they did it in style as well. Hawick Linden were beaten on the road at Dunbar 43-19, but Hawick Quins got a good home win against Christophin. That ended 39-17. And finally, in East League 3, Earlston remain unbeaten with a 17-14 victory at Edinburgh Northern. So those were the results. Robin, pick the bones out of that one.
Oh, where do you start, Stuart? I think at Mansfield with Hawick, I think that's a really great win, given the hole that they found themselves in, as many points down as they were, particularly at half-time. They had a number of frontliners missing, and they did what champion teams do. They probably didn't play at their best, but they found a way to win. I think there's got to be a word in there for Musselburgh as well. If you look at Musselburgh's last 10 league games, going back into last season, so this season and tail end of last season, played 10, won 6, drawn 1, and lost 3. Anybody nowadays that thinks Musselburgh are the whipping boys have been sitting at the back of the class, not paying attention, and sooner or later Musselburgh are going to come along and give you a wedgie, because that's where they are at the moment.
Yeah, the landscape has certainly changed, and certainly Musselburgh can add their names to GHA and Curry, and of course Selkirk, who have come the closest to taking Hawick's unbeaten home record, which is now going into its 5th year, which is fantastic. And of course, again, it's all about winning, and Hawick find a way to do that.
They do. They've got a great squad. We've touched upon it time and again, and they brought a few boys in last week, and yeah, like I say, they found a way to win, and they've got another home game again this weekend, and yeah, they've recovered really, really well after the setback now a number of weeks ago on the road at Mar.
Great win for Kelso as well, who also came from behind to win. I mean, they were actually well down, I think 22 points to 10 or something, and then they got all the points after that and comfortably won in the end 32-22.
Yeah, it's heart, it's fight, it's having a bit of dog about you. For all the world, that looked like Kelso were going to lose that game to the team that's finished 4th in the league, the team that's been in the playoffs the last couple of seasons. And again, Kelso, another team at the moment, a bit like Jed to an extent, they're missing a number of boys, to injury. Kelso, they really have a sort of lengthening injury list, and so for them to come back in the fashion that they did, and they picked up a bonus point win, I think that's them now. They've won 2 games out of 7, but they've also drawn 2. I think that's a really, really good start back in the big time for the first time in goodness knows how long. I think Kelso will be really pleased down there.
Oh, I must mention Duns, of course, because that is a good win for them. I mean, long time since they've actually won a game, and that was a convincing win over Livingston.
All credit them to have such a big win after such a period of no wins is absolutely fantastic. I think I noticed from social media that Dom Buckley was turning out in the red and black of Duns as well, so I don't know if that's given them some kind of fillip, but yeah, all credit to them down there.
Right, let's go to tomorrow's games involving Borders sides, and let's start with Hawick, who are at home to Heriot's Blues, 2nd versus 3rd, and Green's coach is Matty Douglas.
Yeah, look, we're really excited to get back into action this weekend against Heriot's. Coming back off the back of a win last week, look, I'd probably be lying if I said that the performance was where it needed to be. First half, we just struggled to match Musselburgh. Credit to Musselburgh, they had a clear game plan, and going down the tunnel 20 points to 10 down, we haven't been in that situation since the Mar game, and we had some stern words at half time. The players knew that it wasn't where it needed to be, and second half, credit to them, we've came out and reacted, and we're at home again. I feel that we've got a little bit of a bit of performance to put put in front of the home crowd, as last week we didn't do that. So Heriots are a quality side. They're sitting at 2 points below us in third. So look, this is a top of the table clash. However you look at it, we need to win on Saturday. We need to keep the pressure on at the top. Heriots have won at Selkirk last week and won some big games this season. So look, they'll be confident after winning on the road for the first time last week. So we need to be ready for it. Looking at selection wise, there's another 5 or 6 players who come back into that selection meeting this week. So we'll be looking at it and we'll be looking to put the strongest team on the park that we can and try and rectify a few of the issues that we didn't quite get right last week. But again, it's always the following week you get a chance to put things right, and we'll certainly be looking to do that at Mansfield.
Matty Douglas, Heriots Blues in third place then. No mugs, of course, beaten Mar this season, the only club to do that. Drew with Kelso as well. Bit unpredictable on the road though.
Yeah, they seem to be, but they're also racking up the tries. I think they've got 6 try bonus points.
And only Musselburgh's done that.
Yeah, so yeah, you again got long odds on that at the start of the season. Those being the only 2 clubs to get 6 try bonuses at this stage. But no, Heriots are obviously much improved on where they were last season, where they finished towards the foot of the table. Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
Kelso, they're away at Currie, and Director of Rugby Neil Hinnigan.
We're going to have to be defensively well organised, and that's what we've been working on mainly this week, is trying to keep that up. It was a bruising encounter last week, so there's a lot of players dropping out. Murray Woodcock drops out, Terry Logan drops out, Hamish Tweedy is out as well, Liam Tate incoming is Angus Utterson comes in for Hamish. He's looking at his first Premiership game, so hopefully he gets a run off the bench. James Glendinning comes in to the back row. Grant Shields comes back onto the bench. Angus McGregor keeps his place at loosehead, so that's a credit to him after his performance last week. Alan Frame starts at hooker and Hugh Knox goes to the bench. Quite a lot of changes in there obviously, so the injury list is getting fairly big, but we've also got to look ahead. After Currie we have Jedforest and Musselburgh at home, so they're going to be 2 big games for us, and it's just about trying to manage the squad through this period of time.
Neil Hinnigan, Director of Rugby at Kelso, and the big 3 of course are Currie, Mar and Hawick. Heavy defeats for Kelso against the other 2. Can they do better at Millennium Park?
It'll be tough, of course. It's a really tough place to go for any team. Kelso, by the sounds of things, or as I mentioned before, and Neil's added to that there, injuries. Woodcock, he's all action. Terry Logan will be a massive miss because Currie have got a good scrum and going to struggle to compete at that level without a player of Terry's stature. I don't think these are the games that Kelso will have marked on the calendar as must wins. I don't see Kelso being in the shake up towards the foot of the table at all. I think to me they look minimally comfortably mid-table with a view to then kicking on again maybe this season after a period of consolidation.
Okay, Selkirk also at home tomorrow at Philiphaugh, and they go up against Embrackis, who've now slipped to 6th place. Selkirk head coach is Sesh Henderson.
We're looking forward to this week's game. Embrackis at home, another home game. We're desperate to put a performance in and get over the line, get another win. Bracken's been a tough game, they'll be hurting after getting beat at Kelso last week, and we need to go out there and really show real determination and intent to attack and our defence and take opportunities when they come. We're getting so close, but we're just not getting any rewards for our hard work.
They'll have looked at the result against Kelso and seen that Kelso have beaten Embrackis on the home patch, and they know that Selkirk actually went to Kelso and got a result there as well. So they'll be pretty confident that they can turn Accies over.
Oh, I think so. Accies don't appear at this stage to be as strong as they were. Well, the table doesn't lie. They're not as strong as they were at this stage last season. Selkirk, I think, had probably 1 step back last weekend after 1 step forward against Kelso. That was a really good win down at Poinder, and I think they would have hoped to kick on from there against Heriots with a view to having Accies another home game this season. But Heriots was a setback. But yeah, there's absolutely no reason that Selkirk can't put Accies to the sword, as you mentioned. If Accies got turned over at Kelso, then Selkirk can turn them over at Philiphaugh. Selkirk probably, they've not got quite the depth of squad of some of the other teams. But yeah, I think they can do a job. Whether, as is going to be the case in all the games, it would appear is going to be a factor, and that could suit Selkirk as well.
Well, also in the Premiership, in 10th place it's Jedforest. They're at home to leaders Mar. Part of the Jed coaching team is David Grieve.
On Saturday we were up at Glasgow Hawks, and not for the first time this season we were late call-offs, which it's really putting us on the back foot before the game's even started. It's far from ideal. The game itself, first 20-25 minutes, really competitive. Then kind of after that, the Hawks got 2 tries before half-time. But even at half-time, all the talk was positive. We felt we had a lot to play for still. But unfortunately, second half, the floodgates opened. We weren't at the races at all. It was a really disappointing afternoon for us. Again, we picked up a couple injuries. It's far from ideal the situation we're in at the moment. We just kind of have to get on with it. This week we've got Mar at home. Hopefully there'll be 2 or 3 boys back for injury for us, especially in the backs. But again, you have to kind of wait and see. This just not having a settled squad this season's really affecting us. We know a bit of work on things at training. It's just, if it wasn't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. That's kind of how we feel. But we just have to go out there. We've got nothing to lose. Have a go and just kind of see what happens.
A very dejected sounding David Grieve there, and you can feel his pain really, can't you? I mean, I don't think Jed has known a season like this, certainly since I've been following Jedforest, and they've lost so many players to either injury or abroad, or of course Southern Knights have taken a couple of big players as well from them. Almost impossible to be competitive.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any easier this weekend with the league leaders coming to town, does it? We mentioned last week, and you alluded to there, they've just got so many boys missing, and because of the size of the town and the catchment area, they're going to be fighting with one hand behind their back essentially. Mar last weekend in that second half, they had a purple patch of maybe 25 minutes, was it, where they were absolutely irresistible, and any team in the league is going to struggle to contain them if they play like that. So no, it's not going to get any easier for Jed. But as I said last week, all credit to the guys that are coming down, fronting up, pulling on that royal blue jersey and getting out there and doing it, because it can't be easy.
That's our commentary game tomorrow, and I'm sure the team will give 100% to the cause, and with home advantage and some better luck, that will turn out to be a competitive game, hopefully. And remember, the last time we saw them, they scored 35 points on the road, so they can certainly score tries. Let's go into National 1. Melrose are on the road to Dundee, and here's head coach Ian Chisholm.
Last weekend's result at home was brutally disappointing. I think we started really poorly. We clawed the game back, and there was points where it looked like Glasgow Accies were going to break, and that we were on top and we had all the momentum. Got it back to 28-all, and then we had a couple of opportunities to score and never took them. And the trend of the season it's been us that have went up a gear in the last 20 minutes of the games, and this was the opposite way around. Glasgow Accies really up the tempo a wee bit. We just fell off the face of the earth. There was a lot of mental errors. Few of our guys struggled to stay in the game, and I probably made a few replacements which hurt us rather than helped us. And selection's going to be interesting this week. Do we back the guys and just reassure them that it was just an off week, or do we bring in whole changes? And that's the big conversation that we're having with our coaching group at the moment. But look, this weekend's an opportunity for us to get back on track.
So a few conversations, no doubt, in the changing room and at training as well. What would you do? Would you make wholesale changes, or would you stick with the boys like Ian said?
I don't know if they'll be able to make wholesale changes, to be honest. If they're not got Doug Crawford, it doesn't look like they're going to have Bruce Colvin. That's a blow. That's a real blow in itself when you're looking to bounce back. So I don't know if they've got the personnel sitting below the first team to be able to make wholesale changes, to be honest. But they need to do something, because as I said before, that we never seen that result coming. But yeah, a club of Melrose's stature can't be accepting results of that nature, and they need to go in a bit of a run now. Are they going to get promoted this season? No, but they almost need to get some form of respectability back, dare I say, after some of the results this season. And just seems like something is amiss at the Green Yards at the moment, just from the outside looking in.
And it's really weird, because 2 weeks ago we were looking at the result that they had at Biggar, 36 points to nil, with Ayr struggling going to Hartree Mill, and other teams also getting very close to Biggar at that time. And all of a sudden it's just seemed to have imploded.
Yeah, I think that's a good word to describe it. And it's most unlike Melrose. Certainly pre-Super Six, they were the ultimate model of consistency, but yeah, I just don't know what's going on there at the moment.
Well, hopefully they'll get things back on the road to Dundee tomorrow. Gala, they're also away as well, and it's not easy for them either, because they're going to be playing Glasgow Accies, who are doing obviously very well at the moment, a couple of 60-odd points in their last 2 games, and they were both away from home, so now they're back at home at Anniesland, and it's going to be very, very interesting, especially when you consider that they were in Division 2 last season. Let's hear from Gala's Director of Rugby, Ewan Swinton.
Last Saturday's game ended in an absolutely gut-wrenching way for Gala. We were well on top in the game against Highland. We were, 18-3 up with just over 5 minutes to go, and were defending resolutely. Highland were not looking like scoring until we lost a centre to an offside decision which resulted in a yellow card. That created space out wide, which Highland were, to their own credit, were good enough to take advantage of, and that 18-3 lead disappeared very quickly and became the defeat that was recorded. So yeah, devastating in itself, but not the end of the world. I'm a great believer in the poetry of sport. It's full of triumph and tragedy in the sporting context. You have highs and lows. Highland certainly had a high at the end of the game on Saturday, and we had a low. However, it's not terminal. The boys have to remember that they were on top of a team which is doing very well for these 75 minutes, and at the point that we were even-handed, we were on top for the vast majority of the game. But we cannot forget that a very young group of lads who'd been subject to a number of call-offs were well and truly on top in the game until things just ran away from them in a manner that sometimes happens in rugby and indeed in all sport. It's part of the beauty of sport, hard to take, but you simply have to do that and move on. So that's what we'll do. We now head up to Glasgow Accies, who are going great guns, had a fantastic result at the Greenyards on Saturday, and on the face of it, it's a daunting challenge. But I choose to take the positive view. We still do have an excellent crop of young players. We will have a fair bit of bulk returning to the forwards. Tim McAvanagh and hopefully Cammy Pate will be back in the reckoning for this weekend. And hopefully Angus Dunn will return from injury as well. These three, along with any other changes that come along when the final selection is made, will make quite a difference. I'm not unrealistic about the challenge that we face, but I am extremely positive about the group that we have, and there is no reason why they shouldn't go up to Glasgow on Saturday and come away with the win.
I do love his positivity, and as a player, that's what you want to hear from the management, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to hear doom and gloom, I guess, anyway, but no, he's got realism mixed in with that as well. No, he always speaks really well. Ewan, I said on this show last week that I fancied them to turn Highland over, and it looked for all the world like they were gonna. I think they'll be scratching their head at Nidderdale as to how that one got away so late in the day, and it's a bit of a body blow.
Let's have a quick look at that table at National 1, because between 4th, which is Melrose, and 9th, which is GHK, there's only 5 points separating, 6 teams. So if Gala had won that and held on, and Highland hadn't got their 3 tries in the last 10 minutes or whatever it was, Gala would be actually up in sort of 4th or 5th place.
Yeah, the action appears to be in the kind of middle ground at the moment, and yeah, very much fancy. So Gala are 8th at the moment, but they're on 13 points, as you say, and I very much fancy them to climb up the table, as Ewan mentioned, when the young guys continue to get this experience that comes with playing rugby at this level. I can see them climbing up the table.
Well, in National 2, Peebles are back after a week off. They've lost their last 2 games. Their head coach is Graham Patterson.
We've got young Ross Wolfenden moving up from the Colts. He's been passed to play senior rugby, and as part of his planned development, we're looking to integrate him into the first 15 squad. He's a player with a lot of potential, and if we can help him along his way and his pathway to wherever it takes him, then that's what we're looking to do. But his skill set is pretty good for somebody of only 17 years of age. He's very mature, and I'm sure he'll do really, really well over the next block of games coming into that senior squad. And he's moved seamlessly from Colts training to senior training, and I'm really excited to see him go at a senior game and see how he goes there. But I have full confidence, and as have our coaches and other coaches in the sort of regional academy set up as well. So that's a view of what we're looking to do at Peebles as well. That's another snapshot of us producing young players through our great youth system, putting together a development plan in conjunction with the regional academy coaches, and putting it into place to allow these players to flourish and hopefully showcase their skills at the right level. We're looking for a return to a bit more expansive game, looking to move that ball around. Certainly in the pitch that we've got, it should be good opportunity for us to use both our set piece skills and our phase play skills to move Aberdeen around a bit and to squeeze them in terms of defensive sets that we have to put together. It'll come down to getting the right attitude. That's maybe what's the biggest area, and that's what the players have impressed upon themselves to get correct for this Saturday, and we're looking for a good reaction after those couple of losses to get back in that hunt for the top spot in the league.
Graham Patterson, the head coach of Peebles, and time to get back on the wagon, I think, against Aberdeen, who won for the first time last weekend.
They did against Berwick as well in that bottom of the table clash. But Peebles will, of course, be looking to win against Aberdeen this week, and they should, if they're being honest with themselves, be looking to kick on for 5 points from that as well, in what is shaping up to be the division this season at the top in terms of excitement. National 2s seem to have replaced National 1 this year for nip and tuck at the top, and I still expect Peebles to be right there or thereabouts.
Also in National 2, Berwick in search of their first W. They visit Kirkcaldy, and here's forwards coach Paul Pringle.
The lads really are up for this Saturday. We've got a few guys coming back, so hopefully we'll be welcoming back Jordan Jackson, Ben Nicholson, Cam Rogerson. You know, these are guys who will have a real impact on the game and give us a bit more structure in terms of how we approach the game. This weekend we'll go to Kirkcaldy on the road again. To be honest, we're just really looking forward to getting this tie and really targeting that first win. The lads are in a positive frame of mind, which you probably wouldn't expect after 6 losses, but they've all been fairly tight margins. You can see that by our losing bonus points. We know we just need to keep tweaking and learning the lessons from the previous week, which is the key, and the W will come. So there's no panic. If we can keep the intensity levels high this Saturday, the result will look after itself.
And he's absolutely right. There's no need to panic yet, because the results, although they're not going their way in terms of wins, they are playing well and they're not being beaten by a great deal.
And that's right. There's only 3 points between themselves and Saturday's opponents, Kirkcaldy, who sit up in 7th. So no, there's absolutely no need to panic. And I think one of the good things about Berwick this season, as much as they've not won a game, they're still sitting on 8 points and they're not bottom of the table by virtue of the fact that they've had a draw and they've got 6 bonus points. So no, they just need that win to come, and they'll progress up the table. And what a way it would be this Saturday, another long bus journey after all the way to Aberdeen last week, then to Kirkcaldy. But yeah, they'll be looking to have a bit of a party bus on the way back if they can pick up the win up there.
Into the East Leagues now, and Langholm are having mixed fortunes in their first season in East League 1 following promotion. They're at home to Portobello. Their head coach is Craig Hislop.
Disappointing result at the weekend, going down 37-14 to Leith. Never an easy place for us to go, but never really got off the bus. The only real positive was we got some of our younger lads got some decent game time. So this weekend we head back down to Milton for a visit of Portobello. With a few faces back from holiday, we'll be looking to get back to winning ways and pick up our season.
Old coaches say it, don't they? Old players say it's never an easy place to go on the road. Have you ever heard anyone say, "Oh, we can't wait to get to Milbray" or something?
No, I don't think I have. Actually, it's a good point. And even if there was an easy place, I don't think anyone would be disrespectful enough to actually put it out there. But no, a wee bit of a surprise result potentially last week for Langholm against Leith, who are below them in the table. But yeah, Portobello sit rock bottom of East League 1, so Langholm will be looking to put that right this weekend, and 4 points, possibly 5.
In Division 2, though, the big derby is Hawick Linden and Hawick Quins, and let's hear from both camps. Adam Hall of Quins and first Gary Alexander from Linden with a few interesting stats about the fixture.
Well, derbies always get the pulse racing. First time that we've played the Quins since March 2020. It was the last game that either side played before COVID kicked in. Linden lost out 1915 to the Quins on that occasion at the Volunteer. The Quins have actually had the upper hand on us lately. They've won the last 5 league games between us. Linden haven't actually won since 2014. So the boys are obviously up for trying to put that right from our point of view. Played really well up at Dunbar last week. Probably deserved at least a try bonus point to come away from there, because Hull Hill's always a tough place to play. Picked up 1 or 2 knocks. Hopefully nothing that's got to keep boys out this week. I think there'll be a lot of competition for the boys. They've been training hard this week, and they'll all be wanting to play against the Quins, and I'm sure their boys are all up for playing against us as well. Hopefully we'll also get a good crowd. Always big occasions, so hopefully it'll be a really good game.
Yeah, it's a really big week for us this week. It's a game we've been looking forward to for some time. The first local derby we've had in a few years. The first time both the Quins and Linden have been in the same league for a while. And there's been a bit of hype around the game, and it's been building towards this week, so we're really looking forward to it. It was good to get a victory on Saturday. It wasn't a perfect performance by any means. We didn't turn up first half and we were 12-10 down at half time. But in the second half, we turned it around, scored 29 unanswered points and came out 39-17 winners, which gave us a real positive outlook going into this week. We're certain that we'll not get away with starting like that this weekend. The Linden, they'll be up for it. They'll be gunning for us. It's been a long time since the Linden beat a Quins team, so it's a local derby that we're desperate to win. So fingers crossed we have a good week training. We put in the performance on Saturday and come out on the right side of the result for the bragging rights.
So history favours the Quins, but as we've seen this season already, Border derbies seem to be changing, don't they? Lots of high-scoring matches rather than the dull, low-scoring affairs.
Yeah, and hopefully the weather will be okay enough for that to be the case with this one. It's absolutely great to see this. It's mouth-watering, and you know, the words were taken right out of my mouth there. This is the ultimate bragging rights game, and it's just great to see. You know, these are junior clubs in a town that's not the biggest town in Scotland by any stretch. You know, these are junior clubs, and there's Hawick as well. It's just great, and it's the ultimate bragging rights. And yeah, Linden, by the sounds of things, not beat the Quins in quite a while. So what I noticed from that as well, Gary Alexander, you can just about hear it in his voice. He is absolutely buzzing for this one.
He certainly is, and he'll be reporting for us on the radio. Ewan Welsh will be reporting for the television for us, so look out for highlights on Sunday of that one on Borders Rugby Television. Should be a good game. Also in East League 2, Duns are away at Dalkeith. Into East League 3, Gala YM hope to be able to field a team following last week when they had to pull out of their match, and they're now unfortunately sitting on -2 at the bottom of the table as a result. Tomorrow they're at home to Edinburgh Northern, while a top of the table clash is the match of the day in that league. Unbeaten Earlston take on unbeaten Trinity Accies at the Hoch. Earlston top of the table on 23, Trinity on 22. Head coach is Cammy Hill.
Last week was a really good win away from home, but there's a few things we've had to go away and work on in training. A bit sloppy in some areas. Most people will look at that result as a really good one, but the coaching team know we should have capitalised on a lot of pressure we had. We spent 20 to 25 minutes of the first half in their 22, not coming away with any points. We really need to be taking points away if we get opportunities like that, especially with as much pressure. I've told the lads we can't afford to do this weekend, as we're going up against a good Trinity side, and if you're not willing to take your points when you can get a chance, they will punish you. This is a game where we're really going to see how far we've come as a team this season. As Trinity are a big forward pack with some dangerous runners, so we need to contain them in that area, but I've no worries. Defensively, we've been absolutely brilliant this season. I'd say that's probably one of our strongest areas of our game. We'll see what we come up against, but I'd imagine they'll be pretty similar to Edinburgh Northern last weekend. There's a few changes this week due to injuries. We've got lads returning from holidays and other commitments that weren't available last week, so squad selection this week's been great. Good numbers to pick from, and not really any downgrading in the squad. Back to a really good strength. Here's hoping we can get another win and really start to believe we can do something this season. The boys are starting to get that belief behind them now, so we're looking for another win at home.
It's really good, isn't it, to see a team that have been in the doldrums for the last couple of years finally seeing that light at the end of the tunnel and then going on, and now they're, you know, the only unbeaten team in the Borders.
What a turnaround. It really is. And it's great to see. And this is a big old game. This is top of the table fare in East League 3, and Earlston, if they can beat Trinity Accies, there'll be 6 games gone, 6 wins, 6 to play, and daylight at the top of the table. It'll be very much in their hands.
Yeah, Trinity Accies, my old school. I'm a kind of split loyalties here, but no, we have to back Earlston. Have to back Earlston tomorrow. So let's hope that they get a good win and stay at the top of the table. Well, we're live on Rugby Radio from 2:30 tomorrow, coming to you from Riverside Park, bringing you coverage of Jedforest versus Mar. We'll have TV highlights of that game on Sunday, as well as Hoyt Linden against Hoyt Quins on the Sunday on Borders Rugby Television. And don't forget to check out our new Scottish Club Rugby podcast, episode 8, now available with me and Dale Clancy, taking a comprehensive look at the club scene in Scotland. There's the new website at rugbyradio.co.uk, and of course our main site for everything to do with Borders Rugby at bordersrugby.net. Do check it all out, and we'll see you on Rugby Radio tomorrow at 2:30. But for now, from Robin and me, a very good night.